You're trying to wonder how, if God is one, he can be three persons. No matter how much you meditate on creation, you will come to a conclusion there's a God, but you won't know who that God is and what he's exactly like. So if there is a God, if there is, and we both believe there is, he in his love and mercy, if he created, he didn't create it to be hidden. He created it to be known by his creatures, because we believe he created out of love, so to make himself known. So God would then, in his love, need to reveal who he is, what he's like. So when we talk about the Trinity is something that God has revealed about himself. Where people get tripped up is because there's nothing in creation that's identical to the Trinity. It doesn't make sense to them how, if you're one being, you can be more than one person. But now let's question that. If you believe God is beyond comprehension and unlike anything in creation, would it surprise you and shock you that God's mode of existence, the way he exists, is completely unlike anything in creation, and there be nothing identical to it, and so that the way he exists would transcend our ability to fully understand? The Trinity is unlike anything in creation. There's nothing identical to the Trinity, and we're not able to fully comprehend it, which should be expected if we're dealing with an infinite mind, a being that's beyond comparison, who exists in a completely different way than the way creatures do. Just because you can't figure out the Trinity, that doesn't mean it's not true, because if God is infinite, then expect that God will be beyond your ability to truly comprehend his infinitude. But secondly, when we say God is one, even when we say God is one, that needs to be defined. One what? Because people say one God, like the Muslims will tell you, ahad, ahad, or wahid, wahid. Okay, one what? For example, I can speak of one family, but a family consists of more than one person, right?
Yes.
I can speak of one nation, but a nation consists of millions of people, right?
Yes.
So even when I say one what? So if God tells you I exist, and I exist unlike anything creation, and my being is not limited the way your being is, that it's limited to a single person, right? Then this is how I exist. My existence transcends your existence. It's not multiple gods, but this one God is the Father in union with his eternal word, the Son, and eternal Spirit. And that's the one God. So the one God cannot be other than the Father and his eternal word, his Son, and his eternal Spirit. Can't be. That's what makes the one God the one God. The problem people face is because from their frame of reference, because we're not God, we don't have an infinite mind, we don't see the way God sees, we're creatures bound to time, space, and place, and we're bound in a world that is finite, limited, and temporal, so we only assess by what we see and experience. And in my experience, every being is a single person. Not that God is identical to physical beings, because he's not a physical being. He's not bound to time, space, and place. And we don't say there's a male and female in the Godhead. So we don't have God the Father and Goddess the Mother, right?
Yeah.
But in creation, God said, let us make Adam in our image after our likeness. But then it says, Adam is them. Let them have dominion over the world. I'm summing up the passage. So here he says, I create Adam. This Adam, he is in my image. But then he says, this Adam is them. And Genesis 1:27 tells us that Adam is male and female. The male and the female together are the one Adam. And in Genesis 5 verse 2, it says, in the day he created them male and female, and the day that he created them male and female, he called them and named them Adam. So the male is called Adam. The female, his wife, is called Adam. And then in Genesis 2:24, it says, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Basar achad. Okay, now, here's the problem. Eve, the female, has her own flesh body. She's a distinct physical being. The male, Adam, her husband, has his own physical body. He's a distinct physical being, but it says the two are one. So here you can have two distinct physical beings, physical persons, still being one. How much more God, who's not limited the way we are. The most important question is not whether you can figure out the Trinity. It's whether the Trinity is true. And how do you know it's true? Well, if God is real and he's revealed himself, we now need to see where he has revealed himself and then take him at his word. And I believe that's the Holy Bible, God's perfect words, perfectly preserved. And there in this book, that's the word of God, I am told the one God is the Father with his eternal Son and his eternal Spirit. And the one God cannot be other than the Father with his eternal Son and his eternal Spirit.